Haynesworth Designs, and thank you so much for joining in. Today we are talking about time commitment to your embroidery business and making an honest assessment and what to do after you've made that assessment. Okay, so first of all, I just want to be clear and I want to state that if you have an embroidery machine and your plan is to use it for business, commit to your intent. I'll say that again, commit to your intent. All right, and so committing to your intentions are you are doing exactly what you had planned on doing. Okay, so you bought the embroidery machine because you wanted to start in a business. Commit to that. You didn't buy the machine so it could sit pretty. You didn't buy the machine so you can have hopes and dreams of what you could. Commit to your intent. Commit to your intent. All right. And so I do understand sometimes that we buy a machine and the intent is not to be a business owner. The intent is to be a hobbyist. So if you are a hobbyist that is transitioning into business, to becoming an entrepreneur as an embroidery business owner, so now your intentions have changed. You need to commit to that intent. Commit to your new intent. Okay, because basically this year, I'm not making no videos about setting goals. No, we're going to analyze it brick by brick on what it takes to build our empires. Okay, I am always under assessment mode. And trust me, I know life happens. We'll get into that because I'm going through it still. I understand it. All right, but the bottom line is these embroidery machines are here. We have them in our possessions. Okay, they're not going to make money on its own. Okay, they're not going to achieve what we have as goals if we don't commit to the intent. And so before we go any further on analyzing and making assessments, the bottom line is if you are not willing to commit to your intent, this video is not for you. All right, so let's just be clear that you have to be willing to commit to your intent to really do a true time assessment on where your time is, how you're spending it, what you can do more, what can you do less of. Bottom line is you have to be willing to commit to your intent. Okay, so let's talk about time commitment to your embroidery business. Okay, so that means that after you have come to terms that you are willing to commit to your intent, you have to make an honest assessment. And an honest assessment means that realistically, you have to assess your schedule, your family schedule, and the free time you have to get your embroidery business going. If after your assessment, you only have 1 hour per night or 3 hours per week, then commit to the time that you have available. Now, making an honest assessment about the time that you have available for your embroidery business is extremely important here. It's extremely important because setting unrealistic goals will not help you. It will not help you at all. In fact, it will only frustrate you, especially if you've announced your goals and plans to everyone that you're going to be running your embroidery business every day after work from 6 to 9, when realistically you can't because you have kids' practices that you're chauffeuring them to and from, and you have family life commitments, and because sometimes after work you're just plain and simple tired. Okay, and so that's not realistically doing an assessment because you didn't take those things into consideration. Even the fact of being tired, you are working a steady job, a job that doesn't have anything to do with your embroidery business, so you might just be physically, mentally drained after work. And so you need to take that into consideration. If sometimes, am I tired after work? And if it is, then you have to allow yourself to be tired and maybe get some extra rest. All right. And so, I will say it again, making an honest assessment is extremely important. Otherwise, you are setting yourself up for failure. Okay, you guys, if I'm going to do an assessment on you, then I have to be able to do an assessment on me. And I thought that I would share some of those things with you, what has helped me along, what's helping me now. And, I got to tell you that I am under constant assessment. I am under constant review. I really, really, really stand firm on that you have to constantly monitor what is working in your embroidery business. Okay. And even if you look at some of my videos from 7 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, you will see me with all these different processes and practices that I do not even do at this point in my life. Okay. Number one, I don't got the energy. And number two, I don't have the time. And number three, it just simply would not work. It wouldn't work for my setup. It wouldn't work the way I do business. It just doesn't work. But I wouldn't know that if I was not under constant assessment of my business. Okay. And I will be the first one to tell you that I know life gets hectic sometimes. I know that. I know, family members pass away. Family members get sick. We get sick. Things happen that are beyond our control. Kids start acting crazy. Grades start slipping. You got to pay a little bit more attention to here. You got to go see your family. You got to go to church. You got commitments. I totally get it. I totally get it that things happen that are beyond our control. Things happen in our life that actually forces us to pause. But when things are under our control, we have to make sure that we are controlling them. And we have to make sure that these controlled practices are working. And we have to make sure that our controlled practices are working for everyone in our lives, especially people that live with you. So I do a daily assessment with most of my embroidery mentoring students, depending on the mentorship plan that they are under. And in many cases, it is easy to complete because many of my students have day jobs. So it's easy to account where most of their time is. It gets fuzzy when I ask them what they're doing after work. Okay. I mean, it gets fuzzy when I ask them what they're doing on the weekends. Okay. And it's because, here's where we're analyzing. We're analyzing it together. And I am asking questions and challenging the current systems that they have in place. And if it doesn't make sense to me, or it appears to be unsuccessful based on things that they have shared with me previously before, I say so. And so you guys get off easy though, because you are going to do your assessment. And guess what? You're going to do it independently. You're going to track your movements and activities independently on your own in your own spare time. That means no Kandia to ask you, why do you do that? You don't get me challenging you, but you get your wheels start to turn like, okay, is this making sense? Should I continue to do this? And so it will be successful because this is something that needs to be done. Okay, so first let's take a look at my old schedule. Okay, so this was my schedule in 2016, 2017, and 2018. And I would say that it pretty much came to a crashing mix-up in 2019 because my husband and I separated. I uprooted my life and my personalization company and moved 75 minutes away. Meanwhile, because God is a funny God, he thought it was cute to give me a new increased boost of customers, which meant increased orders, when now there's no assistants, no delivery guy, and only me. So if you direct your attention to the top of the page, look at the beginning part of my day. This remains the same. This is a pretty much true depiction of what goes down at Kandia Haynesworth Designs home and headquarters in the wee hours of the morning. Okay, the only thing I would say is that I do start my day about 5 a.m. these days, not at 6 or 7 a.m. And reason being is because I used to live in a mountain, so it was peaceful, so I slept a little bit later. Here, there's more traffic. People are going to work. I hear the school buses. And so I get up earlier. And I got to tell you, I am totally okay with that because that also means that I start my orders earlier and everything else. Instead of watching YouTube videos, I am usually making YouTube videos around this time or editing videos around this time. But for the most part, orders are started around 6:30. By 7:30, 8 o'clock, something is done already. Something is done already. So I am happy with the way I have it now. I've reduced the distance. Excuse me. I have reduced the distance that I am willing to deliver substantially. All right. And so that means that I take full advantage. I take full advantage of the services that UPS, FedEx, and the post office have, where they will come to my home and pick up boxes as long as I print out the shipping labels and done. This serves as the delivery guy, serves as pretty much the middleman. It serves as my assistant. And so it cuts out me having to run back and forth to wherever I need to go to deliver, like the UPS store or the post office. I don't have to do that anymore. Okay. And so, the time that you see here where orders are in progress, that pretty much still is the same, except it's shifted a little bit earlier. I don't have as many meetings as I used to have. I don't have telephone consultations during the day for embroidery mentoring students. Those is generally in the evening, okay? And so I also have a day off now. I didn't have a day off before. All right. I was 7 days a week. So what I'm saying to you is look at my schedule. Look at my schedule. I mean, I gotta tell you that business was booming. Business, I have no complaint on what my commitment produced. Okay. However, running a business like this, a home-based business like this on a 7-day basis, okay, you will see a spike in sales. You will see, if you're doing YouTube, you'll see a spike everywhere. I saw a spike in sales. I saw a spike in my YouTube channel. I got to tell you that I was literally expanding my reputation in the community. Just everything was going really well. I was super busy, seeing the revenue, busy. But look at this again. 7 days a week, busy like this. That means that if I am going to get my nails done, I'm doing it in between deliveries. I'm going to the doctors in between orders, because everything was local there, but I'm doing it in between. I had no time for myself. And, sometimes busy, you can be too busy. And so, yes, I was very busy, but I was also too busy to attend family functions. So there was no birthday parties or dinners or baby showers or weddings. Sure, I sent a gift, but I wasn't going. And that also meant that I was too busy to nurture relationships or take time away from myself. And so, even though it proved to be great for the deposits that were being made into my account, this time commitment to my embroidery business proved to be a failure. So you're going to download the day planner, and what I recommend is that you don't try to be a superhero and go work on orders before you go to work, okay? Because your embroidery machine will mess up, okay? And if it messes up or it starts acting fussy, that will be on your mind for the entire day, okay? And of course it will happen because you will be in a pinch for time and you don't have time to sit here and try to figure it out, and that's when your embroidery machine is likely to mess up. So I have taken about 5 questions from the 15 that I generally will ask my embroidery mentoring students, and I am proposing them for you today. And so you can start your assessment by answering these questions, okay? And so the first one is going to be, when do I have time to run my embroidery business? So when you are asking yourself this, when do I have time to run my embroidery business? I don't want you to think about it. I want you to literally write these down. Write these down, because it's something about seeing what's inside of your head, inside of your heart on paper. Okay. And sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes it don't make sense, but don't just keep it in your head. All right. So when do I have time to run my embroidery business? I want you to list each day. Don't give an overall or a vague answer like, oh, I can run it after work. No. On Sunday, when do I have time to run my business? On Monday, on Tuesday. I want you to list it each day, the time that you have, and tell yourself, when do you have this time? Because if Monday you have to work, you have to pick up the kids from the after school program, and now you're getting home around 7 o'clock. When do you have time to run your embroidery business? So I want you to be clear and specific. Remember, we're talking about you here and only you going to see this. So you don't have to worry about me, okay? You don't have to worry about me because only you are going to see this. I want you to also keep in mind that each day your commitments may differ. You may have one commitment on Tuesdays and Thursdays that you don't have throughout the rest of the week. So keep that in mind as well. The next thing is what are the times? What are the times can I commit to my embroidery business? Again, be very clear. So if you come to realize that you have no time during the week, cross the whole day planner out from Monday through Thursday. Because if you work in Monday through Friday, Monday through Thursday, you need to commit to work. You need to commit to family life. And that is totally okay. All right. And so I say Monday through Thursday because I find that most people have a little bit more energy on Fridays for some reason when they know that they are off on Saturday and Sunday. Okay. And so you may have time, you may have energy to come home on a Friday evening, Friday night. You're staying up a little bit later. You may have time to go and do something in your embroidery space or, dedicate some time to your embroidery business. However, you're going to make that assessment. All right. And so, I want you to think about the times that you were saying that you do have, okay? These times for your embroidery business should include a start and a stop time without any interruptions. Okay? And so just keep that in mind that this is times that you know for a fact you will not be interrupted and you have time to dedicate to your embroidery business. The next question is going to be, how long are these orders taken to complete? And the reason why this is important, because if you are already working on orders, you already have a budding embroidery business. Okay, first of all, if the orders is taking too long, it might be that you are accepting the wrong type of orders, okay? If the orders are creating challenges, all right, you might not even be equipped or prepared to do these orders. Like if you are a person who have a full-time job, kids and everything else, you might not want to sign up for doing, let's say, the local school's uniforms because you don't have time to do it. You don't have the equipment. You don't have the manpower. And so you might want to be very careful with what kind of orders you are taking. So you have to assess, the orders that you are committing to. You may have to revise your product line, and you might also have to revise your embroidery services that you are stating that you are willing to provide. So that's something that you really have to think about as well. The fourth question is going to be, what's my skill level? What's my skill level? If you are still learning your machine, your embroidery machine, you are at a beginner's stage, okay? And perhaps you may need to hold off on accepting paid orders, or you may have to hold off on accepting large orders, okay? Because sometimes, you can kind of, there's an old saying, shooting yourself in the foot. You can actually, cause yourself more of a headache than help by accepting something that you really don't know how to do. You don't want to wing it on people's garments or that kind of thing. So it might be best just to hold off until you have reached that skill level where you can handle such kind of orders, okay? And you might need to hire a mentor. It doesn't have to be me. It could be somebody else, but you might have to just invest in educating yourself with a live person to help you. Okay, you might have to watch more YouTube videos. You might have to do whatever you need to do to educate yourself. All right. And so if that's going to help you run your embroidery business, you do what you need to do. Don't think by having an embroidery machine, you are prepared to run a business, because it doesn't make you prepared at all. All right. It just makes you an embroidery machine owner, to be quite frank. And the last question is, what support systems do you have in place, or what support systems can you utilize? All right. And so you have to be honest with yourself too. Just because you may have another adult in the house doesn't mean that they're willing to be helpful. Doesn't mean that they're willing to support what you're doing. And if that's the case, be honest about that. You also may have a support system that you're not utilizing right before your eyes. So do you have children old enough, and capable to take care of themselves independently while you go in your embroidery space after dinner? This means, after dinner, do you have children that are old enough, mature enough to go to the showers on their own, then go watch TV in their bedroom without trying to kill each other? Do you have Do you have kids that are able to do that? Do you have someone in your home who can help you? You know what I mean? It maybe a parent, a sister, a spouse, or do you have a teenage kid that can help you? You might have a 17-year-old at home or a 15-year-old at home that can help you with your 8-year-old and your 9-year-old, And so you may have a support system that you're not utilizing. And so those are some of the questions that I ask, as your mentor. Those are some of the questions that you would have to get your wheels turning, And luckily, you don't have to worry about delivering a response to me. You can think about your answers in your own free time. Okay, and I hope that this video is helpful to you and it prompts you to assess what you're doing, if it's working, and make the changes that are necessary. So that's all I have for you today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and hit that bell and click subscribe so you can be notified when I upload videos. And I like to hear about what you think about this assessment. I like to hear about what you are doing to assess yourself, what works, what's not working. Just give me a comment and let me know what you think about all of this. You can find me on Facebook at KandiaHaynesworth.com. You can also find me in the group Embroidery Boss. And you can also find me on the group Dollar Tree Moneymakers on Facebook as well. And I am also on Instagram and Pinterest at Kandia Haynesworth Designs. That's all I have for you today. And until then, I'll see you next time.